Well, yeah, and the kitchen's not finished yet. So we're starting on new projects before the first one's even done. It's chaos upstairs.
Wow.
The guest bedroom is full of all the kitchen stuff.
Oh, sure.
And then we have the temporary kitchen set up in the living room.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Microwave station and dishes.
Oh, yeah.
The countertops in though, I think they're coming in tomorrow to install and finish. Hopefully
Cool.
I have a kitchen again.
Wow.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that
It's
quick
been
on
a
getting the
project.
guest room straightened up though.
Right. I have to figure out where everything's gonna go.
Yeah.
I put some stuff away. I realized I'm gonna have a lot more cabinet space than I did. So that'll be fun.
Never enough.
No.
Then you just have more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I'm not yawning, I'm just peaceful. What is that cabinet?
So we have a bunch of stuff that's gonna go for public sale, and so that's the number of, on the list of things that's good.
I thought, they can't be having a rummage sale in here, but oh,
We
yes,
are.
they can, we are.
Last number 27.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff, so.
Yeah.
make sure you
Oh,
get
wow.
it.
All right, we're gonna call, the public hearing to order for the Anthony Shower variance request. Were there any?
There were no objections. I got a few of the letters back where they stated they had no objection.
okay.
Good. That's nice and better than no answer.
Yes.
That is nice.
Response, yeah.
That is great.
That never happened.
Yeah, wow.
Not only, I'm not against it, I'm okay
Right.
with it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice to know.
Any calls to the office?
No.
I don't think there's anybody here to speak one way or the other to it. Then we'll close the public hearing and open our regular planning and zoning meeting. And we have the variance request from Anthony Shower. Were you guys here when he came and talked?
Yes.
You were here, okay.
Mhm.
I
Yes,
just wanted to make sure we got everybody
right.
covered on what he wanted to do.
I wasn't here.
Right,
Okay.
Larry wasn't.
So he's just gonna enclose the deck that he has now, right?
Basically, it's already there.
Right, I drove down.
Yeah.
Right, he has a porch, he's gonna make that.
Yep.
Just an entryway, not making it
Yeah.
any bigger, just
Oh.
No, it'll be the same size
Same
as what he
footprint.
has.
works for me.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I will make a motion to approve the variance request.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the variance request for Anthony Shower, please say aye.
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, we are going to move up
Yes.
the variance request for the Claytons. Come on up, guys. So this is just, you guys have a change to the request that we already discussed, correct?
I think so.
Okay.
You want me to speak?
Go ahead.
There today. Yeah. I was there today, and I thought this, yeah,
Okay.
and, you know, you have the drawings, I think they're assuming that this line is the street, that's actually their property line.
Yep.
So they would like a 25-foot variance to go right up to the property line, is what they would
Mhm.
like to do. Because the street is actually like out here, you know,
Oh,
that's
okay,
right
yeah.
away.
Oh, okay.
So actually, the building would go, you know, right up to the line like this. You know, because normally it's a 25-foot setback from here.
Yep.
And, you know, they've already got a mountain of fill in there already. And
There was an old, or there was a little garden shed there that was just right next to the street. This is, the new line is like to the back of where that one was, quite a bit back further. I'd like to cheat as far as we can, because it drops off so far.
What this is from the back of the curb, the property line is about 18 feet. And there are pieces there, they had it straight and stuff.
Okay.
So, and that would take right to the edge of the property. They're requesting a 25-foot there.
It's 25, so it's right on the line.
What did he get on the first variance last meeting? That was the 25-foot variance. So
it was basically.
And we're asking
zero.
to go as clear 5 feet.
Well, see, the variance is backwards. It works here back, okay? So, well, no, what they would do is if they build right at the property line, it's 25-foot variance, okay? I don't know how we could let it go closer because then they're in the right of way.
Right, then they're not.
Other than that there was a building there, and, you know, and there's other buildings that are closer than that in town, you
Yeah,
know, but.
I understand that, you know, every area is different, I guess.
So this building would be right inside where the from survey.
It would be, yeah, right up the
Right on there.
Yeah. I just don't know how we can give permission to go on to right.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a whole variance of 25 feet.
Yep.
I know, like I said, I think I go closer, but then, you know, it's actually right away.
Right, but if you go up to the property line, I don't have a problem with that. But then, should we have solved our other issues, or is that separate about being into?
I think that's taken care of.
Rezone or replatted.
But, yeah, and if you look across the street, you know, in the block down, everybody is right. There's
Yep.
a lot of them right on the property line, so.
We just can't go any closer than the 25 feet. We can't go 20.
No, it would be 18 feet from the back of the curb.
Okay.
It's a little closer where our flag,
Okay.
from where our
It was
flags
like,
were.
it was like 2.5, 3 feet closer from
Yeah,
where you
our flags
Okay.
were
yeah.
a little bit further out
Okay.
than they will need to be.
And that's the best variance we can get. I mean, that's-
Yeah, I think
Right up to property line.
Yeah, that's just the way it is, so. So anyway, so this will have to go to a public hearing, you know, so that's be advertised in the paper.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So. I make the motion to move forward with going, advertising in the paper and go with the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of moving this forward to the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Can you get a date for that?
So Rainey will set up a date
Yep,
for that.
in contact.
And what happens is once it goes to the public hearing, it's kind of like the shower one tonight, it has to go before the city commission, because we only make recommendations to the city commission. But if it passes here, it's, you know, unless it's something really bad, it's gonna pass. But
Yep.
So it'll be 2 weeks in the paper, then these guys will have to meet, and then it'll have to be the city commission, so depending on timing, it might be a big yes.
So we're at, right there. There's no chance getting it in this week, is there? Or is there?
Well, I could, if I get it on to them
Tomorrow.
right away tomorrow.
If you can get it right away tomorrow, then we could meet on like before the next city commission meeting.
If they can get it in the paper sometimes.
If you can get it in the paper,
Sometimes they don't get it in.
right.
Any,
But I can try.
let's see, the weekend after a holiday, can't tell you if that's slow news or fast news.
We'll try.
I'm guessing it's slow.
And so someone had a vacation scheduled or not.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know tomorrow, like if I can get it in, then we can get it scheduled and then.
Okay. You're so good at your job,
She
Rainey.
is. She really is.
Good deal.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Back to watching the sky.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So, our ordinance terminology. Do you have any more thoughts on how to make this right?
Did you guys discuss this last time?
We did
No,
not.
we
Okay.
did not discuss
It
anything.
was just the three of us.
I mean, I read what Carol wrote,
Yeah.
you know, looks good. I just don't know if I'm approved just this going to the auditor. You know, I mean, that's why we have planning and zoning board. You know, isn't that kind of what you had here? It would
Say
go-
again now?
it would- it
So
would-
you don't want it to be a rubber stamp?
Yeah,
How come?
well, nothing else is.
Right, pretty much any variance,
Yeah. I mean,
any
pretty much every-
change, anything that's not.
So,
You know,
Because part of the intent was so that we wouldn't have to, part of the intent is that we be consistent, and part of the intent was so that we didn't have to meet and do a public hearing on all of these.
well, if we're consistent.
So if we're in between and it's not a rubber stamp, but it's not a public hearing, I could live with being in the middle somewhere.
Well, the thing is, you know, I guess my thought is, you just, under 117.7.4, you know, just put lot splits and slash lot mergers, and they all kind of fall in together. That's my thought. But I see what you're saying is, you know, we'd have less meetings.
Well,
but
I
if you're gonna
tried to put it
Yeah.
together under one, but the little things that were quirky were so different that I thought we had to have a separate section.
Well, maybe. I mean, yeah.
It doesn't read that there's a way for the lot split to not have a public hearing. Am
No.
I reading that correctly?
Well, you
So
know-
I would think that we would do similar.
If you go to the lot split though,
Mm-hmm.
it really doesn't say you need a public hearing, but it says that you need to send out letters to everybody. Well, if you're sending out letters to everybody, you need to have a public hearing.
Yeah,
It's not
Yeah.
specifically stated in there.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So-
I don't see for a lot joining, I mean, I tried to copy some of this from Bismarck's zoning regs, and theirs is a rubber stamp.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of looked at Jamestown's and theirs wasn't.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So somewhere in between there,
well,
if it went to a meeting and we looked at it and stamped it here as opposed to having Rainey stamp it, or we didn't, depending on what I guess I could live with that, but the whole delay thing of sending letters and a public hearing and for something that doesn't affect anyone else's property but your own, I mean, it's just,
Right.
well, do you want lot splits included in that too?
no. I think lot splits are fine just the way they are.
But then where's your consistency if you can do one thing but not the other?
Well, the consistency is in that this board would have an ordinance that they would consistently follow.
What is your qualifications for differing splits and joining? Why would you absolutely want to follow all these for the splitting but not for the joining?
I'm trying to think of scenarios where splitting lots actually
guess that
affects the value
It's
of the property.
and also those garage
and
situations.
the neighbors and
Yeah.
where
Is there a
we're
similar
joining.
situation that we could think of in joining where,
I could not come up with one, but that's not to say there isn't one if you think of one, but I could not think of one where you're joining lots
how
that would
does,
devalue property around you in any way.
how do I'm not familiar enough with, but how do specials treat lots, or is that parcel specific? And would that affect?
Specials are based either on lots or parcels, depending upon how they're recorded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
If you joined a lot, what happens to the specials?
the specials you have stay, but when you get new specials, it's considered one parcel, correct?
If they record it that way.
If they're recorded that way.
Which is one of the requirements that, we're moving forward with, is
Right.
that they follow that full procedure.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a consideration, okay, these specials, I got slammed for my 3, if I combine them so that the future specials I would have, that's a consideration too.
It is, but I don't know that sending it to a public hearing and having us talk about it would change that. Because that wouldn't be a reason we could deny.
No, it's not a reason to deny.
So then we have the admin, but we still,
Because
the outcome
generally
would be the
specials
same.
are capped at a certain amount per parcel, per lot or parcel, depending upon, correct, how they're.
And
I don't know, I've never been through one.
Oh, okay, that's how they are.
and so
I'm just
we would
trying to
have
remember. They
to,
are capped, but if it's 3 separate ones, they meet the cap 3 different times.
Correct.
And if it's one, they only meet the cap.
Just like Elaine Carr down here,
Uh-huh,
you know, she
yeah.
had 3 different ones, and then she combined her
She
lot.
combined it, right.
But
What I'm
she
saying is-
had 3 lots she combined, so she wouldn't have got all of them. It would have, because
It would have
says
still
2.
had to come here.
I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically, what you wrote here is basically the same thing as for a lot split, except the auditor could just stamp it. Is that pretty close, right? Or-
it's the same format,
Yeah.
and there were some, I can't tell you what thing I added and pulled out of this market.
Well, right, and there are some things that are specific, like the joining and frontally contiguous. I
Yeah.
mean, that is specific to
Joining.
Right. Should be.
Like law?
Maybe that happens.
Grab the handle and pull. Oh, okay.
Anyway, yep, I don't think that the assessment thing is something that we could deal with, but I think whether or not we notify the assessment committee might be something that procedurally we would have to do.
I guess another thought I have too is, you know, this board makes recommendations to the city council. You know, so it comes to first. So I don't know, just letting the auditor decide is the way to go.
Well, if somebody wants to build something else that fits the ordinance,
Yeah,
we are able to do that so that we don't
yeah.
tie up the city commission with rubber stamping things that are given, and there's no point in adding to the long agenda. But
Right.
I can't think of a reason why I can't think of a reason why we want to touch it on them.
That's the other you mean?
Yeah,
Well, we just did one where we had to because we were in 2 different things, but,
right, but we've got that in here. If it's a condition that's in the same city edition and zoned the same. So if it's not zoned the same or it's not in the same edition, it's still going to have to come here because it won't fit the rubber stamp. But for the ones that are a no-brainer, they should just go. Yes?
Yeah, it's hard to argue with the basic, you know, does it fit these conditions? Okay, well, it's kind of the same, what are other rubber stamp type things that the auditor's office does? Building permits?
Just building permits in general, if it meets all the requirements. If I have a question, then I make it come here.
You want to put up a garage, and it has the right setbacks, and it has the right materials, and the right roof pitch, and I don't remember what all the conditions are, but if it meets all the things that we've said is our standard, then it's a rubber stamp. So the question is whether this is actually what we think our standard is. If they are adjoining and contiguous and owned by the same person and in the same edition and zoned the same, is that the standard that we say yes? Because if a yes is going to be the final outcome answer in every case, then there's not a lot of point in adding an admin layer in between there. You can think of times when we would say no.
Well, I can't offhand.
I can't either, but
Other than your tax situation, which would we, would we be able to say no? You know, I mean, how would we know for sure that that was,
It's not even in
that's not
our-
like they would present that as the reason.
well, and even if they did.
Right.
And does
Right.
it matter to this committee, honestly? I mean,
Right.
that's
No,
not
I don't
really
think they
a-
have authority to say, no, you can't do that, because it would lower your assessment.
Right,
Somebody could,
Well,
the
that's-
assessment committee
Well,
could say,
that's why Elaine did hers. I mean, everybody knew that's why she did hers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever, you know.
and so if that becomes a widespread practice, that would be something the assessment committee would have to look at and say, we have to think about how we
Right.
apply this if
maybe
everybody's,
the cap is on lot area.
yeah, or, and they can write their own thing. But yeah, I don't see how we would say no, and if we wouldn't say no, why ask us?
So the only reasons they would come to us would be, maybe it's two different zoned areas, maybe it's
Yeah,
like
any of these
between
criteria that they
in
didn't
different
meet.
additions.
Or, I
There's-
mean, the zone,
yeah,
the
there's-
zone the same would be, right.
There still may be issues that come up that would come before this committee.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, a lot of these are pretty basic.
So, rather than this, how the lot split reads as far as procedure goes, is that an application shall be submitted. If they determine the conditions are met, they schedule the meeting, but they send the applications before, they send the notices before that meeting, page 44.
It's 44. See, this is written like kind of aspect. You know, it's according to the procedure here, it's basically the chair of planning and zoning commission, the city commission president, and the code administrator. And, you know, they review it, and then written notice is sent out to the property owners 150 feet, and it says the board may approve, modify, or deny the application. Well, we're kind of missing some steps in here, you know. So that almost needs to be rewritten also.
Yeah, although that one's not causing us near the headache.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the
It-
squeaking wheel.
You know, it's kind of assumed that, you know, once you send out the thing, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a meeting. But it says,
Yeah, it doesn't say that if the letters come back bad, that they'll
but it
do
says the
anything.
board may approve, modify, or deny. But is it the planning and zoning board, even though the chair of planning and zoning, the city president, and the code administrator decide whether it's, it should be reviewed?
See, and that's not how I read it. I read it that if these conditions are met, she schedules a meeting and notifies the property owners before that meeting, and then
Okay.
it's approved.
Okay.
That's how my reading of
And maybe
it.
that's the way it should be.
Right. So that it's not a we meet, because it does not specify a public, so then we're still
That's
involved in the
point,
approval
yeah.
of it, but we've
Yeah.
let the homeowners know
Yeah.
you've received anything back from them, and then we can move forward without the delay
About the
towards
printing
the
the
end of
paper
it.
and
I mean,
all
that's
that.
how I'm reading. And I would be okay with that procedure.
Oh, yeah,
Even, you know.
yeah, okay, you're right, it is a board representative of those, okay,
Right.
right, okay, I missed that. So,
That
yeah,
wouldn't
so
be
maybe,
bad.
so maybe we're doing that
Maybe.
wrong, too.
And it
We
wouldn't
would
be
have
a
to
bad
go
way
back,
to-
right.
Yeah,
That the property owners are notified before we meet.
it'd be
your first
before
meeting.
we meet or before these three people meet?
Well,
You would be basically putting public hearing and our approval, basically, you would, you know, for the shower thing, it would be public hearing plus,
Well, that's a variance,
right, but I'm just kind of trying to give a,
right,
like, so we're sending out somewhat like a public hearing,
Right.
notifying the residents. We would get any information back from them that night,
Before we actually accept it.
and then make a decision that night, instead of, okay, well, this is what's coming up, we'll wait 2 more weeks
Yeah.
to make a final decision. You're basically putting them,
Yeah, because
So are
I
you,
don't know we ever denied up front and said, no, you can't have public input.
Right.
We never do that.
But this says nothing about public hearing.
it just says
Well,
notice to
public
And
the,
I-
input, they sent letters.
Right, and I think Ann probably did really picked up really good on this, is, you know, you send them out, and then if you give them X number of days to respond,
Yeah,
and if not, then it's these 3 people go
Yeah.
either check mark it or not.
yeah, it's not
and
a
are you,
public
so
hearing
your reading
live.
as that board only consists of those 3 people, is that your reading of it?
That's what I'm reading
And
of
it's
it.
not the planning and zoning?
That's what I'm reading of it,
Okay.
aren't you, or not?
I don't know.
It says approved before a board represented by these 3 people, and then it says the board may approve, modify, or deny the
is
application.
this the only part of this that they set aside that 3-person?
Right,
I
that's
mean,
fine.
it's a little weird that that's done
Yes,
that way,
because,
why not?
I mean, and that sounds right, because if you look, you know, if you go backwards, they're talking about planning and zoning commission. They're not talking about this specified board.
Right,
It's just weird that they
This would be exempt, maybe exempt from the planning requirements, if the following conditions are met. So,
So you might not have to go before the board.
so maybe the lot split and the, lot merging could both fall under this.
Mhm.
You still have that input.
So public input, but you don't have to have a public meeting, I put it in the paper.
And you don't have to have a full commission.
You don't have to have a
Yeah.
full commission meeting.
Oh, I'm done.
That's,
And
isn't
it
that,
still has that second layer of
yeah,
approval.
that's kind of where that reads, isn't it? I mean, that's what I think. you know.
Right.
I don't think we realize that before. So,
We haven't had to deal with that.
No, I guess I can't recall.
no. But then, of course, if it's more than 2 lots, then it has to, you know. It's like a resubmission.
Because if it doesn't follow these conditions,
Right,
then it does fall in, I mean, a lot, it falls into the public hearing,
Right.
notice all of that. So then we could do similar for the lot joining.
yeah,
That way we still get,
Mhm.
we make sure the public is notified that the property owner is nearby.
yeah.
But we don't have to
But we
do
don't
that.
have,
Well, come back in 2 weeks and we'll talk
Exactly.
about it again,
Mhm.
and then come back in 3 weeks and
Doesn't
the
have to be for
newspaper
2
will be
lots,
done
but
and,
anything bigger it would.
Mhm.
So basically, this procedure paragraph needs to mirror more of
yeah,
what this,
yep.
the lot split
Mhm.
language
Yeah.
is.
Because the last split,
which have you, I mean, you haven't even attended one of those meetings.
Which one?
The 3 people one.
3 1.
No, I have not. I'm considering, yeah. So that would be,
Well, yes,
because we never, yeah. But that makes sense. I mean, I can go with that.
That's in the middle.
yeah.
So basically what it would be, and then basically lot splits and lot mergers would basically fall under here.
Yeah.
And then,
Shortened procedure that's not administratively heavy for what the possible outcome is.
Right.
right, right. And then anyway, then the 3-person board just goes, okay, disqualify, yes, no. That's,
Okay.
okay,
We charge-
goes to the city commission, and or not, goes to planning and zoning.
Do we charge a fee for this?
Yes,
I think we add it to that, there's a lot splitting application on our form already. I think we just make it, add
Lot
Lot.
splitting, joining,
a lot merger.
yeah.
Okay.
right.
And
So that's like $200.
That seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot for a rubber stamp one.
Yeah.
There should actually be a lot splitting, a lot merger, for, 3 or more, and then like that
Oh.
for
Oh, sure.
2, which would be like maybe $100.
Yeah, because the regular lot splitting is that we have to replat and blah, blah, blah.
Well, they do, but.
They do, and is there,
But then, you know, they have to pay for the paper notice and
Right,
stuff.
but,
Is there what?
so if,
is there a cost involved in that, and, like, once they go to the county
you know,
and move forward with all of that, I don't know.
I have no
um,
idea.
I haven't talked
Just
to
the
Brian.
recording, I think.
Just the recording, which
I
is
would-
a
I would
$20
think,
thing,
yeah.
yeah.
the other
Okay.
thing I'm thinking
Well,
of is
that's
that,
good.
Well, and but the survey or whoever put
Yeah.
all that together, they have to pay that too to that person.
Right, yeah, that's up to them, so. yeah.
Right, okay.
most times when somebody comes to us and they want to join a lot, it's because they want to build something. I mean,
Yeah.
for the most part, so are they also going to pay a building permit fee and a lot joining fee?
I mean, and that's probably typical to a variance situation, they're paying the building fee and then
Yeah.
any additional
Okay.
costs.
Right.
Are there not some of those where we waive one because you're already paying this one? Do you not remember any of those?
I haven't.
Okay.
I've done both.
I don't know of any.
I just want to make sure we were consistent where we didn't say, oh, we didn't charge them for this because they were also getting something else.
No. I
Okay.
don't think so. So do we want to think on this then till the next meeting, or?
Well, I think we need to rewrite the parts to fit so that we vote on the actual,
Well, and then.
Do you want to vote on the
but to
intent or the
change it-
actual
But to change
document?
an ordinance, we can't, you know, it has to go, has to be reading before the city commission, I think, and then, you know,
Right.
what's being changed and all
I
that
think it
stuff.
has to be read twice.
Yeah, it's a process,
Mhm.
so, yeah.
but,
Yeah,
But
I
we
think
have to
we
get
should-
it written the
So if
way.
there's
Yeah.
anything
we want
else, you
it.
should do that too.
What's that?
And so if there's anything
Yes.
else, you should really do that
Right.
too.
yeah,
Yes.
but that's how we ended up in trouble last 3 years, is saying, oh, well, there's so many things to fix that we won't fix till we
Right.
can fix them all.
And
And we never do that.
right, and I think going back to just, I don't know if someone, just adding it here, there's a lot of the verbiage that, I mean, I don't think we would need to rewrite all of this. You just, in conditions, you have one, capital A is the
Yeah.
requirements for a lot split, and capital B is, and then
Yep.
procedure would remain the same,
Right.
just with a little bit of word,
Yeah,
of
so we're
wording
not adding
change.
a
Sure.
whole
So the word,
entire.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think so too, I think that'd be the
Much
easiest
simpler.
way.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll keep this on our agenda and
So, we need to write this up then.
Okay.
Who's in charge of writing that up? I think maybe we can all take a stab at it.
Let's do that.
And then find out other things that are probably a conflict.
Either that or tell me the legality of this. If I try to make what I think I heard for changes,
Well, if you're
and I
wrong, we'll let you
email
know.
them, huh? And, no, and I email them to you, is that kosher?
Yes.
That you look at it and say, yes, that is the changes, or no, you missed this, and then we
They can't reply
email them.
back to you.
We can't write, we can
You
only,
can only receive, they cannot reply back, because then it's.
that becomes an
Okay.
open meeting.
Okay, I knew there was something that was not gonna be kosher with this.
Yeah. So, or you can give it to Rainey and she can email it out too.
Okay,
And then we can reply back to her or whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 all right. I know at the last one we discussed board members having a,
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you find?
So I found a list, yeah, so,
Well, wait, maybe I won't have to type.
so Elizabeth, from what I found for you, you took over for Dwayne Bauer's position, right? He quit kind of midterm.
I have no idea who I took over for, but
Okay.
sure.
Okay, so then that expires 2019, and then these are as of January, so your position should have been over in 19, January of 19. Then Larry, I showed Zach in 14 you came on, and that
Yep.
would have been Dennis Van Horn's position, does that sound right?
Could be.
Okay, that would also be a 2019 position. And then Jim Kaiser took over for Darren Morlock.
Yes. A quick question, how long is the term?
5 years.
5 years, okay.
So his would expire in 2021. And then Carol, you took over for Jeremy Hogan. His would be 2023.
Pardon?
Jeremy Hogan was on before you.
I don't think so. I think I took over for Darren Lester.
Yes, that's what I thought it was. He was on.
Darren was on a very short period of time. I think he might have been after Jeremy.
So I might have missed the name of them.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's, that one was 2023. And then, Ann, you took over after Clark. So yours would be 2023. So now Jim emailed me today and said that he would like to resign.
He's on drugs because he had his knee scoped.
So I think we kind of have a couple positions, your two guys' positions that should have been reappointed in January, and then he would like to resign, and so I'm not sure how we want to handle those.
Okay, I don't know if this matters, but at our last reorganizational meeting of the city commission, which was in 2018, you know, I was appointed to stay on the planning and zoning,
Okay.
so,
Yeah,
So
you're a
you're
commission rep,
appointed-
you're not really,
Yeah,
so I would say I'm,
appointed.
yours has
member.
already been renewed.
right?
Well, I don't know, I'm not sure how that really,
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works either, but
Because-
that's when we do our appointments, is
Right.
at the reorganizational, you know, like every 2 years.
so how's that gonna work in that odd year on that 5th year?
Well, then we'll just have to bring it up, I guess. You know, and I guess that's something that we need to realize, it's a 5-year term, so we don't do it every 2 years for the state.
Well, it's a 5-year term, but isn't there's always a representative of the city commission, and I don't consider that a regular term. That's just,
Right, that's a,
you're the
it's an
city
appointed
commission's
one.
representative, and everybody else is an appointed term.
Is that what it says, there should always be a member of the city commission on
I didn't bring that.
there? I don't know if that's a requirement.
It is with library.
Is it?
That's all I remember.
I don't know.
The library board needed to have a member of the city commission as part of the board, but
I don't think that language was in there for this one.
maybe
I
not.
made copies of how to change an ordinance, but I didn't take a copy of the special assessment. Sorry, it's in the sanctuary code.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something we can check into, I guess.
Because I can't imagine that the city commission would not want a representative on this board, just
Yeah.
like the airport board and the library board.
Right.
Yeah, any ordinance citizens planning and zoning commission shall consist of at least 5 members appointed by the city commission. So it says-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really, you know,
Okay.
unless you're, the bylaws, like libraries says have to, I don't know if the airport has said that or not.
Maybe not, maybe they just do it.
Maybe they'd board just been done that way, the airport.
Very possible.
Yeah, and so on.
Very possible. I guess that's all to check into, but.
Well, maybe the library board is different because they have their own money that comes in through the levy. and
But
they
just
have to
recently
copy
that
this.
changed. I mean, it was coming to the same, we just passed a law, so
Yeah.
I would think.
And so maybe that's why the bylaw, state library bylaw.
So Elizabeth, do you want to stay on?
Yes, I can.
So should we add that to the agenda tonight then? Because you said hers is up now? Or-
Yeah, well, it'd be you too, but if you think that by being appointed that you were reassigned, then.
Well, I think that's something we need to check into.
Then it would just be
and,
Elizabeth.
We can always just do it the next,
You could just do it the next one,
right? We can do that too.
Okay.
That'd be fine. Yeah, we'll just do it the next one, okay.
so that will be the 22nd.
And then, so, yeah, so we'll have to have see if anybody wants to be on for Jim then, huh?
No, there is that requirement though about the extraterritorial.
Oh, yeah.
So we need
So
somebody
really look
extraterritorial
into
to
that.
Or
take
to
the
replace him.
position.
If one applies.
Okay.
So then I need to put a notice in the paper.
Right.
do people that live in the extraterritorial zone realize that they could join the board? That would be something in the wording to make sure that
All right, yeah.
they know that they're eligible. That may be why we don't get many.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, you know, Clark lives in the same county, you know. So he really, you know, but he's really good, you know. He's been on it for a long time. It's really good. Yeah, it was tough to see him go because he had a lot of knowledge. Okay.
So people that are in the extraterritorial zone, do they realize that we're a governing board that they come to, or do they think the county is their governing board?
They're supposed to know.
Okay.
I think the county tells them.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Because I wasn't aware of it until somebody came in, he's like, nope, I was told. I'm like, oh, okay, and so then I had to go through this, I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So I think they're told, I mean, I think they think probably that they go to the county, but then the county tells them
Right.
that come to here.
Do you have any other items to discuss? All right, meeting adjourned.
So I guess you'll let us know when the next meeting is.
Yeah. Seems like a Monday night thing.
Yeah. We gotta reenact the meetings anyway, so Monday night. Let's say commission night.